Verbal abuse is still abuse. Just because you're not dealing with physical or sexual abuse, and just because your situation doesn't look as bad, quote unquote, as someone else's, does not mean that what you're dealing with is not dysfunctional. It doesn't mean that what you're dealing with isn't unacceptable. And if you are dealing with any kind of abuse on a consistent basis for years on end, it's grounds for divorce. As my younger self, I was taught a lot of things about Christianity and about what it meant to be a submissive wife and a Proverbs 31 woman and someone who loves with the love of Christ that just weren't biblical. God has not called us to be in a marriage where we are being abused on a consistent basis. That's not his plan for us. His heart for us is not for us to deal with abuse. Now, none of us are perfect. Sure, we understand that, and we're not expecting perfection. But being in a marriage where you are constantly berated, scolded, treated like you wouldn't even treat an animal, that is not God's plan for you, and that is abuse. That is a marriage that is toxic, and that is a marriage that God has not put together. So if I could say something to my younger self that believed that verbal abuse isn't grounds for divorce, that verbal abuse isn't a big enough deal to destroy your family or destroy your marriage, I would tell the younger version of me that if you are in a toxic, abusive marriage, that is, even if it's verbally abusive, what is destroying your life isn't the possibility of divorce. It's the fact that you married the wrong person. It's the fact that you have sentenced yourself to a toxic marriage full of verbal abuse for the rest of your life. That your children are seeing that this is quote unquote normal. That it's normal for one parent to treat the other one this way. It's normal for one spouse to treat the other one this way. That is what is destroying you, and that is what's destroying your children. If I could speak to the younger version of me, I would definitely tell her, don't take the responsibility of destroying this marriage. If you have been verbally abused, especially in front of your children, you're not the one destroying this marriage. Don't take on that burden. Don't take on that responsibility. It's not your fault. It's not your job to fix your spouse. It's not your job to fix your marriage. It's your job to make sure that you and your children are in safe and healthy environments. And yes, that may mean divorce, and that may be very painful. But aren't you feeling in pain right now? Aren't your children in pain when they see you being mistreated? Wouldn't it be better to move towards freedom and away from the pain? I would tell the younger version of myself that you have the courage to do this. It's going to be very hard and it's going to be very painful, but it is worth it. You deserve better. This is not God's plan for you. This does not reflect his heart for you. You are not being loved the way Christ loved his church. And the only way that you are going to see what God has for you and experience what God has for you is to get out of this toxic, verbally abusive marriage. I am Amanda Nicole, and I am the CEO of Freedom Through Divorce. And so I create personal development courses and ebooks and all kinds of things that are geared towards women of God who have been through divorce, who are considering divorce, and who want to move towards freedom and finding their purpose in God. So what is Freedom Through Divorce? Well, Freedom Through Divorce is actually an online school full of personal development courses for women of God who have been through divorce or who are considering divorce. Anyone who has had to deal with divorce understands that it is extremely difficult. There are so many balls that you have to juggle. Will the children be okay? Is this something that God is going to be okay with? How does it affect my relationship with God? How am I going to learn how to be independent as a new single person or a new single mom? And there's so many things you have to consider. And as a Christian, there are just so few resources out there to help you understand how to navigate those things. So this is a school that really goes from considering divorce and understanding God's views on divorce, when it's acceptable, when it's not acceptable, and understanding that there are so many more cases where God sees divorce as acceptable than what is normally taught out there. And it does it in a way that is not condescending, that's not judgmental, that is just giving you the information from God's heart. And most importantly, is from someone that's been through what you're going through. It's not just theology. It's not just, I read this or I heard this, but it's someone that's actually walked through it. So the personal development courses are meant to help you move and experience freedom through divorce, because there's so many people who they get a divorce, but they don't thrive afterwards. They stay stuck. They stay bitter. They stay telling anyone that'll listen how terrible their ex is. And that's not God's plan for you. God wants you to be able to move towards the purpose and plan that he has for your life and to thrive so that the chapter of your life post-divorce is better. That's what the word says. It says your latter days shall be greater than the former days. So that's what freedom through divorce is all about. It's personal development courses that you can take the information from a biblical perspective and experiencing God's freedom, his prosperity, his love, his joy, his peace, all of the fruits of the Spirit and the blessings that he sent his son to die for you to be able to have. Just because you've had to go through a divorce does not mean that you are negated from the promises that God has for you. So that's what freedom through divorce is. If you're interested in learning more, visit our school today.